Yeah, Tony, how frustrating is the way this one ended in the eighth inning there? How do you balance that frustration also with the happiness of how the rest of the series went?
Yeah, we missed the first part of that due to internet, but I think, the eighth inning was rough. You look at the weekend as a whole. You obviously want to win a series, which is what we did, but you want to get things out of each game. And I think you saw Fergie just decide, I'm going to play baseball today, whether it was his ex-high school teammate or home state or Sunday or whatever. He just got in there and got after it. And then Jordan Beck, when we had a little bit of minor controversy in there, you saw him get more determined and less kind of feely at the plate. You also saw Connor Pavolony be given the opportunity by statistics. I don't like that it works this way, but sometimes it does, to kind of just unravel in a good way and now just relax and play ball with hitting that first ball over the fence. He also had a nice line drive swing before that. And then we got Connor Housley, his first SEC outing. And again, it's just baseball. It's not something different, but there is a sense of comfort of having a little bit of experience. And I think we have an extra weapon there in the bullpen, just like we added Sewell when we played Georgia. I think you can ratchet up Housley to being one of those guys. And we've got some other guys getting healthy now too.
Yeah, Tony, just what did you see from Hundley there in the eighth, and then kind of what led to pulling Redmond on that 1-2 count?
Yeah, balls up in the zone from Sean. It almost looked like he was kind of underneath the balls a little bit. I don't know if it affected him at all, but, he comes out of the bullpen probably expecting to warm up and start the inning, and there's all kinds of riffraff going on. But the bottom line is he's our most poised guy we have on this campus, I think. So he should be able to get in there and throw strikes. And he did retire the first batter, if I'm not mistaken. But there was just some balls that were left up. And I don't know. He closed the game down in Gainesville. But whatever it was about this weekend, they put the best swings on him than anybody else has all year long. But when you're a guy that's got to pitch when the money's on the line, you're probably in that situation for a reason. So you're probably going to have some success. But it's also going to come with a punch in the gut every now and then. And no one's more equipped to handle that than Sean.
I'll go Ryan.
You mentioned it there a minute ago, but what did you see from Ferguson and Pavolony this weekend? Did anything stand out about them looking different?
Tremendous defense from Pav, but I don't know that that's different than anything. Maybe a little bit extra edge to him on the defensive end. And then at the plate, the conversations were less with the umpire and with himself and more just people around him. It was more of a relaxed dialogue as opposed to amping up for an at-bat like it's a football game. So it was encouraging to see. And then, just kind of nonstop leadership from Fergie throughout the year, but a little bit more oomph to it, a little bit more positivity in the voice and the body language, which can be an indicator on what's to come. And was an indicator for some success because there were some really good at-bats, a much more direct path to the ball. So fans at home might think it's a quicker swing. It's the same deal. It's just more efficient. But then also just kind of playing, man. It's about that time of year. We talked about, everyone else is talking about everything else going on now in April. I mean, we're marching towards May. And May, more than any other month, should be where you just play. I mean, you're not going to class because it's over, not because you're skipping. And, you're staying in nice hotels or getting good per diem, or you're at home getting taken care of, and the weather's nice, and there's no better time to just play. And that's what you do. So you might as well get a running start at that thing.
Mike.
Tony, you mentioned Connor Housley. Just overall for the bullpen, how important is it to have another arm? I mean, whether that's a Housley, a Rackers, a Mabry, but just another guy you can trust kind of out of that core of Kirby and Hundley and Sewell.
Yeah, it's enormous. I mean, you could have Sully here standing next to me and he's going to answer the same way. And I haven't been following other teams that closely, but we're kind of down to the nitty gritty. So while we will still involve some other guys in certain situations, they're smart enough to figure out we need to be able to trust you in certain situations. And looking down the roster, I mean, there's plenty of guys that have the stuff to do it. Some of them just need to be given the opportunity like Housley was. And then also when they get the opportunity, just don't overcomplicate it, go out there and compete. And he kind of let it all hang out and it went well for him for a reason. B's got good stuff.
Back to Ryan.
Yeah, kind of following up on Mike's question, just how challenging is it to give new guys opportunities when it feels like every game is, 1-2 runs there at the end?
Yeah, it's the nature of our league. So it's really about, are you willing to, kind of stand behind a guy, but also what's the situation? Is the situation a guy's been in before or not? So we haven't had much wiggle room in non-conference games as well. I know there's been a few that have gone our way, or we've just decided we're going to experiment regardless of what's going on, but they've all been tight games. So, we'll continue to trust the guys that we have been. But I think as we get deeper into the year, it's only wise to kind of use the portfolio we have of some guys down there. And I think Housley can do what he did today multiple times. And again, I think there's a couple other guys either coming off the DL or just kind of waiting to have the ball in their hand that can get it done as well.
Wes.
Tony, I guess now that the weekend's over, was the plan the whole time that Liam was just going to DH this whole weekend? And how close do you think he might be to getting back out there short?
Yes, it was. And, we'll kind of see how we want to handle Tuesday, really with everybody, because it's a bus trip. And fortunately, the vaccine stuff is helping us, but we're still dealing with COVID protocols, as is everybody else. And then, when the weekend comes, what might be your ultimate question, I think there's a chance. I mean, I can tell you he's going to try and talk us into it before we are, but we'll kind of weigh our options and see where we're at with it. The good thing is he can always help us, win a game doing what he's doing now. And of course, Steenstra, and I trust Cortland Lawson at shortstop too, give us a sense of comfort at a very, very important position. So he's not far away, but we're going to be real sure when we do it. Because again, we want to be playing our best baseball in May.
We'll take two more, Ryan and then Mike.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Blade. It seems like second straight week he maybe hasn't been excellent, but kind of the toughness he has to fight it out as a freshman and keep y'all in a position to win through the outing.
Yeah, no doubt. I think this one had a little different flavor to it than the Alabama deal. It wasn't quite coming out great for him, and he just gutted through it. Alabama too had a great approach and really put some good swings on the ball. Not that Florida didn't have those things, but I think, at times he was dynamic. And then at other times, on a lot of occasions, it was with two strikes. He seemed to kind of overthink things a little bit. And hopefully it's a lesson learned. And I think as he goes, each outing is going to have its own brand name. And hopefully he can look back on each one and kind of stack learned lessons on top of learned lessons. And again, as we kind of get into the most important months of the season and down the home stretch, he'll not only be impressive physically, which he is, but also have, some mental comfort of being cozy out there and all types of different starts.
To go back to Max, he swung at the first pitch a couple times tonight, which I don't think is a thing we've seen often this year. How have you tried to coach aggressiveness into him? 'Cause it seems like a lot of the time his approach is more not actually playing for a walk, but I mean, he's getting late into counts and not getting the pitches he could get early.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance. And trust me, there's been a lot of conversations, probably too many at this point. Again, you get to the second half of the year, it's not quite time to really loosen the leash, but it needs to be their team, starting here in a couple weeks, almost 100% so in some categories. But I think when you got that much speed, your goal is to get on base. And a lot of times he's either been leading off the inning or leading off the game for us. And that's kind of been his goal. But if you're really going to, break it down with a theory, in my opinion, it just comes from having the right mindset. A lot of times he's been too feely in there and kind of searching or trying to find his way through an at bat instead of going up there and just playing ball. And I think, I kind of answered that way already earlier, but I think what your question is kind of falls under the same topic of him just going out and just playing the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.